In May 2026, researchers at the Tokyo University of Science unveiled something that immediately drew attention across the technology world. What is being described as the world's first fully unmanned medical research laboratory inside the university's new Robotics Innovation Center. 10 robots are now capable of conducting scientific experiments continuously without human researchers physically operating inside the lab. While scientists sleep at home, the laboratory continues running through the night. The robots can handle delicate biological procedures, operate laboratory equipment, measure precise volumes of chemical reagents, and cultivate cells with minimal human supervision. At the center of the system is a humanoid laboratory robot known as Maholo Labdroid, equipped with dual robotic arms designed specifically for scientific research environments. And unlike many robotics demonstrations that remain confined to experimental showcases, this technology is already being used in real medical research settings. Kobe Eye Hospital, for example, has reportedly used similar robotic systems in stem cell research projects. According to the researchers behind the project, the long-term goal is much larger than simply building impressive robots. The vision is to create research laboratories capable of operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, dramatically accelerating scientific experimentation and medical research. Japan even reportedly envisions thousands of research robots participating in scientific workflows by 2040, handling tasks ranging from experimental procedures to parts of the research validation process itself. At first glance, this may sound like just another robotics headline in an era already flooded with humanoid machines from the United States and China. But Japan's announcement feels different for one important reason. These robots are not being designed primarily for warehouses, delivery systems, or household assistants. They are being designed for one of the most difficult environments in modern automation, scientific and medical laboratories. And that distinction may be far more important than it initially appears. Scientific robotics is one of the hardest problems. To understand why this project matters, we first need to understand something important. Not all robotics challenges are equally difficult. A robot working inside a warehouse operates in a relatively controlled environment. Boxes are standardized, movement paths can be optimized, and even if small mistakes happen occasionally, the consequences are usually manageable. But scientific laboratories are completely different, especially biological laboratories, because in these environments, precision is everything. A tiny contamination inside a cell culture can destroy weeks of research. A microscopic error in liquid handling can completely alter experimental results. Even slight variations in temperature, timing, or chemical concentration can change the outcome of an experiment. And, unlike industrial manufacturing, biology itself is often unstable and unpredictable. Cells evolve over time. Biological materials degrade. Chemical reactions behave differently under slightly different conditions, which means scientific robotics is not simply about movement. It is about consistency at extremely small scales, the ability to repeat delicate procedures over and over again with near-identical precision, and that is extraordinarily difficult. Especially in so-called wet laboratories where robots must interact with liquids, biological samples, sterile tools, and highly sensitive materials. In many ways, building a warehouse robot is largely a mobility problem. Building a scientific research robot is a precision problem. And precision is often much harder, because once robotics enters scientific environments, the tolerance for error becomes incredibly small. A household robot can fail to fold clothes properly and still function acceptably. A laboratory robot may only need a tiny mistake to ruin an entire experiment, and the stakes are already extremely high. Developing a new medicine often takes more than 10 years on average, with some estimates placing total development costs in the billions of dollars before a drug finally reaches the market. At the same time, scientists have increasingly raised concerns about what is known as the reproducibility crisis. Several large-scale studies over the past decade have suggested that a significant portion of scientific experiments, particularly in biology and medicine, can be difficult to consistently reproduce across different laboratories, which is one reason why automation has become so attractive in advanced scientific research. Because robots do not get tired, they do not lose concentration after repeating the same procedure hundreds of times, and when properly calibrated, they can execute highly repetitive laboratory tasks with remarkable consistency. In theory, that could help reduce human variation, improve repeatability, and allow laboratories to operate continuously for far longer periods of time, which is why many experts see scientific-grade robotics as one of the most technically demanding frontiers in modern automation. And this is also what makes Japan's announcement significant. The country is not entering the easiest segment of robotics. It is stepping into one of the hardest. Japan's strategic position in AI. To fully understand this announcement, we also need to understand Japan's position in the global AI race today. Because realistically speaking, Japan is no longer leading the most visible parts of the AI industry. The United States currently dominates much of the advanced AI software ecosystem. Companies like OpenAI, Google, and NVIDIA control many of the world's most powerful AI models, cloud systems, and semiconductor infrastructure. China, meanwhile, is investing aggressively at enormous scale, rapidly deploying AI across manufacturing, logistics, robotics, surveillance systems, and consumer platforms. Compared to those two giants, Japan has appeared relatively quiet during the recent AI boom. There is no Japanese equivalent of ChatGPT dominating global headlines. No globally dominant Japanese large language model shaping worldwide consumer behavior. And Japan itself likely understands that directly competing against the United States and China in large-scale consumer AI would be extremely difficult because modern AI competition increasingly depends on massive cloud infrastructure, huge data ecosystems, advanced semiconductor access, and software platform dominance. Areas where the United States and China currently hold major advantages. But Japan still possesses something extremely valuable: deep expertise in robotics, industrial systems, precision manufacturing, sensors, and high-reliability engineering. In fact, Japan has remained one of the world's largest industrial robotics powers for decades, with Japanese firms supplying a significant share of industrial robots used globally across manufacturing and automation sectors. And rather than competing head-on in the loudest AI battlefields, Japan appears to be focusing more heavily on areas where those strengths still matter enormously: physical AI. Robotics integrated into real-world systems, scientific automation, industrial infrastructure. Because once AI moves beyond chatbots and into physical environments, the nature of the competition changes completely. Now the challenge is no longer only about generating intelligent responses. It also becomes about precision movement, sensor integration, environmental stability, real-world reliability, and the ability to operate continuously inside highly complex physical systems. And, historically, those are areas where Japan has remained exceptionally strong. Which may explain why Japan chose to showcase not a consumer AI product, but a robotic laboratory operating inside one of the most precision-sensitive environments imaginable. The next AI race may be physical. For the past few years, most public attention around artificial intelligence has focused on software, chatbots, image generators, large language models, AI assistants capable of writing text, generating code, or answering questions. And those technologies are undeniably important. But increasingly, the next stage of AI competition may extend far beyond screens and digital interfaces. Because eventually, intelligence alone is not enough. AI must interact with the physical world: factories, warehouses, laboratories, transportation systems, industrial infrastructure. And once that happens, the challenge becomes much larger than software. Now AI must work together with robotics, sensors, precision hardware, and real-world operational systems. This is often referred to as physical AI or embodied AI, not simply AI that can process information, but AI capable of acting inside real environments through machines. And this transition is already beginning. American companies are investing heavily in humanoid robotics and AI-driven automation. China is rapidly scaling robotics manufacturing and industrial AI deployment. Research laboratories around the world are increasingly exploring automated scientific systems powered by AI and robotics. And the economic stakes are becoming enormous. Some industry estimates suggest the global medical robotics market alone could grow into a multi-tens of billions of dollars industry over the coming decade, driven by rising demand for automation in healthcare, pharmaceuticals, and biotechnology research. At the same time, governments and technology companies are pouring massive investment into robotics infrastructure, seeing automation as increasingly critical for future industrial competitiveness, because the real value of AI may not simply come from generating content faster. It may come from increasing real-world productivity, accelerating scientific research, reducing labor bottlenecks, improving manufacturing efficiency, and enabling complex systems to operate continuously with minimal downtime, which means the global AI race is no longer limited to who builds the smartest chatbot. It is gradually expanding into a competition over who can build the most capable real-world AI infrastructure. And that may become one of the most strategically important technology battles of the coming decades, because AI integrated into physical systems could transform manufacturing, drug discovery, logistics, scientific research, healthcare, and industrial productivity at enormous scale. Which is also why Japan's robotic laboratory matters beyond the project itself. It reflects a larger shift already happening across the global technology landscape. The AI race is increasingly moving from pure software into the physical world, and countries with strong capabilities in robotics, engineering, and industrial systems may become far more important in that next phase than many people currently expect. In many ways, Japan's robotic laboratory is about far more than a single research facility. It is a reminder that the global AI race is becoming broader, more complex, and increasingly tied to the physical world. For the past few years, much of the public conversation around AI has focused almost entirely on software: who has the most powerful chatbot, who has the largest AI model, who controls the most advanced chips and cloud infrastructure. And in that particular competition, Japan has often appeared overshadowed by the United States and China. But this announcement suggests that Japan is not stepping away from the technology race. It may simply be choosing a different battlefield. Rather than trying to dominate the loudest parts of consumer AI, Japan appears to be focusing more heavily on areas where its long-standing engineering strengths still provide major advantages. Precision robotics, scientific automation, industrial systems, and physical AI operating inside highly demanding real-world environments. And perhaps that is what makes this announcement important, not because Japan suddenly invented humanoid robotics, and not because other countries are not already pursuing similar technologies, but because it shows that the next phase of AI competition may no longer be decided by software alone. It may increasingly depend on which countries can successfully combine intelligence with precision machines operating in the real world, inside factories, inside laboratories, inside critical scientific infrastructure. And by unveiling a fully unmanned medical research laboratory, Japan may be sending a quiet but very clear message to the rest of the world. It still intends to remain one of the serious technological players in that future.